You're in the CNN newsroom. I'm Gary Tuckman, in today for Frederica Whitfield. Their last war left 1,400 people dead. Now, 4 years later, Israel and Gaza could be on the brink of a second one, while the world calls for restraint from both. But does this look like either side is holding back?
Okay.
Yeah.
That was an airstrike that hit Gaza early this morning. A Palestinian TV channel based in Gaza says 11 people so far today have died. Part of the Israeli offensive, taking out the home of a Hamas commander. Israel Defense Forces say there was a stockpile of explosives in the house. They also say they blew up Palestinian cabinet headquarters. And Hamas, for a second time in 2 days, Hamas aimed a rocket toward one of Israel's big cities, the biggest, Tel Aviv. But the rocket was intercepted. CNN's Sarah Seidner is live now in Gaza City. Right now, it's 9 p.m. there. Sarah, how are people surviving in this night? It must be at a standstill right now.
It was very quiet up until just seconds before you talked to me. We are hearing booms of airstrikes. We have also seen just behind me 4 rockets go up, one after the other. And about 10 minutes before that, we saw very, very close to us. We could actually hear the sound of the rockets leaving the rocket launcher right over our heads towards Israel. We know that their sirens went off in Ashkelon in Israel after we saw the rockets here. And so here it goes again. You can hear the booms now of airstrikes. This is starting to start up again, and it's not unusual that at night, when it starts getting late here, this all starts to go full force. In the morning, about 4, 5, 6, and 7 a.m. is when we've been hearing the most blasts and the most activity, with rockets going one way and airstrikes coming another. But it sounds like it's going to be another one of those crazy nights here in Gaza. The entire city pretty much shut down. You know, after the airstrikes that hit the police headquarters and the Hamas headquarters, things have gotten quiet. But we also had heard that Hamas was telling its workers, the government workers, to go back to work tomorrow. I don't see that happening with all that's going on now. And if this is the same as it was yesterday and the day before, where things got very, very loud and very, very active over the night, I don't see that happening, that people would be back in the streets and back working as normal. Gary?
Sarah, as I said, it's 9 there right now, so it's relatively early in the night. Obviously, a ground offensive, we would assume, would come when things would continue to get worse. How does so far tonight compare with so far last night?
It's about the same, although we were hearing a lot more airstrikes last night. What we have been hearing all day today, though, is the sound of drones overhead. Literally for the past 20 or so hours, we've just heard the sound of the drone, and it has really been constant. And usually what that means is that Israel's looking for where they're going to strike next, trying to find, you know, the area that they see weapons, for example. They've got equipment on those drones that's incredibly strong. They can see things very, very closely. And so usually those images are beamed back to someone in Israel, and that's when they decide where it is they need to hit next. That is generally the procedure. So when we hear those drones all day, we're only assuming that they're looking for areas they can pinpoint target. And this evening and late into the night, we may be seeing the consequence of what those drones sent back to Israel. Gary?
Sarah, I just commented that 11 people have died so far today that we know of in Gaza. Do you know the latest tally of those killed and hurt in Israel during this entire outbreak? And any idea how many rockets have been fired from Hamas?
Hundreds of rockets have been fired from Hamas. It's kind of hard to keep up, to be honest with you, because when one goes, sometimes there's a barrage of 3, 4, and trying to count those all is nearly impossible. We do know that at least 3 people have been killed in Israel. There have been 6 to 10 people injured, and we're seeing images also from there of people ducking down, hunkering down. The fear is on their face, people crying. We know that an apartment building got hit a couple of days ago, and that's where the 3 people died. 1 person severely injured. We also know that soldiers on the Israeli side have been injured as well. People are scared, I think, on both sides of the border. If you talk to people here in Gaza, for example, the families worry that when they hear those drones, you know, if they happen to be in a neighborhood where perhaps a Hamas leader is, or perhaps one of the other militants exists, you know, they could become a target, and they know that. And there have been many civilians who have been injured and killed during this offensive. We also know that in Israel there is a terrible fear fear that the Iron Dome will miss some of those rockets, which it has. It's hit about half of the number of rockets that have come over into Israel. So there's a lot of fear on both sides, and certainly civilians now really hoping that a ceasefire will happen, that a ceasefire is being worked on in the background. Gary?
Sarah Seidner, it's nice having you with us. Thank you very much for your reporting.